This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Brunch with Bigfoot, Mr. Rob. Of course, I'm your host, BMR. Of course, joining me in Studio B from the great state of Texas, which is starting to snow in Texas, if you can believe it, the great Tex Wesson. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to Bigfoot, Mr. Rob on YouTube, Texas Front Porch found on YouTube, The Blondes, and The Booze Paranormal Podcast found on YouTube, Donnie Cho Says Stuff, Our Paranormal World with Monica Rollins, Daniel Diva, at Danielle Diva, and Paranormal Paul. Please subscribe and check us out. Hit the like button. And I know most of you in chat are already subscribers. I know a lot of people watch the show and they're not subscribers, and you don't participate in chat, which is fine. You do help drive the shows. Good old BMR, last time I checked, I'm about 18, 19 away from 5,000 subscribers. Let's hit that this week, you guys. If you're new, please subscribe. Of course, subscribe to my friends that I just mentioned. I want to hit that 5,000 and get that done and over with. That'd be great. I also want to thank everybody that's bought my books. The first one, Bigfoot Mr. Rob presents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1. Look at that nice eye-popping artwork by Jason McLean. And then Book 2, that's also out. Thanks again for the awesome, awesome cover. And if you put it all together, there you go. Type Bigfoot Mr. Rob in your Amazon browser. Leave a review. Please leave a review for those who bought it. It's like analytics. It helps promote book sales. You can find us on all podcasts, wherever podcasts are available. Please check us all out. Everybody I mentioned, we all have podcasts. If you like the content, the super chat's open. A great way to support what we do around here. You can also become a BMR pirate. Mateys, join today. Join the many. Join the few, depending on your point of view, of course. And, yeah, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much for all of that. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Spreaker. Again, go check us out. We're all over the planet, Also, really quickly, I'm going to bring up Tex here in a second. But before I do, I'm just going to get this out of the way. As you all know, we have the Crossing Realms Conference, UFOs, Paranormal Cryptids, September 19th and 20th at the Eagleton Civic Center. Tickets are extremely cheap. We're having a ghost hunt on Saturday. It's already sold out. Yes, we're already sold out on that. It's very exciting to be a part of that. Our lineup, Josh Hurd, Heather Mosier, Frankie and Dan from the Haunted Garage. Frankie and Dan are also bringing a haunted car to the scene. Tex Wesson is the master of ceremonies. Greg Ogles, a speaker. William Lunsford, a speaker. Ronald Murphy, a speaker. Lady Ann Celine speaking. Dr. Dean Bertram. We've got also special guests, and there's more special guests, okay? Also, Brian Bowden is now on as a new speaker, and also Sasquatch Theory will be speaking. We're going to fit all these people on Saturday. It's gonna be a great show, and the ghost hunt. It does start Friday, the 19th and the 20th. So come on down and check it all out. So that's a kind of a mouthful. And with that being said, I'm gonna bring up the man from North Central Texas. He goes by Wesson, Tex Wesson.
Hey, man.
Hey, what's happening, Mr. Marathon Man?
Man, I'm trying to say hi to everybody, and cat's moving so dadgum quick. I hate missing people, but
it's something. I know we got a lot of awesome people in the chat room. Hello to everybody. I haven't said hello to anybody. I see Scott, I see Gary, I see Pops, I see Moon, I see some dude named Tex, Paranormal Paul, Sinfully Wicked, Henry. Hi, Henry. Good to see you. Pancho Zorch,
Yeah,
Werewolf.
Roger, Johnny, Henry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know,
man, I mean, it's just
it's a nice start for the day already.
yeah,
So,
no doubt.
yeah.
And the Finsters in the house.
Yeah,
Christy Sci-Fi has came to visit
wow.
us.
Hey, Christy Sci-Fi. It's always a pleasure to see the lovely Christy Sci-Fi, of course.
JD Smooth is in the house. Mark Beazle.
Yeah, right. Hey, Mark, what's up, everybody?
And of course, Danny Staten.
Oh, of course, Danny Staten. Danny Staten is awesome. He's, Danny Staten has go check out Danny Staten.
Yeah.
I'm usually sleeping, and Danny is so cool because he always promotes me on he's on like 2 or 3 in the morning. He does these shows and he'll pop up one of my videos. And I said, yes, Danny, you can do it. I appreciate you. And he has a pretty cool show. He's got like 5 channels, Danny Staten. Yeah, he does. He's a great guy. And he's been on the show once or twice and has had some incredible things going down in the Carolinas. I think it's South or North Carolina. Sorry, Danny, I forgot. But it's in the Carolinas.
And I'm lucky to keep up with one channel.
Yeah, Danny, he does everything. He's like does comic books. He does Bigfoot. He's got like a big variety center.
He
Does everything. Very cool guy. And of course, he's been with me and you, Tex, as long as we've been on the air. So thanks, Danny.
Yeah. I can't believe we ain't run him off yet, but
yeah, well, no, I can't believe we haven't run anybody off as of yet. And speaking of running off, I said it once, I said it earlier, but I gotta get that 5,000 so I can stop saying it. Because once I hit that, I'll be happy. And Tex is ready over 5,000 and
no, he won't.
6,000.
All right, I'm only 4,999.
Yeah, 49. Yeah, I need 10,000. Well, the next goal is 10,000, right? Yeah, So Tex, I understand you got some weather down there.
Man, yeah, it started early this morning and started sleeting, and then it sleeted for I don't know about an hour or so. Good base coat and
yeah.
And then it started snowing, and it's going to snow all the way today, tonight, and tomorrow. So we're supposed to get about 6 inches of it, which is, I mean, we may get more. Text. I don't know. It was snowing pretty dadgum good. My dog didn't know what to think about
it. Well. Don't they shut down the state when it snows?
Pretty much, yeah. Everybody's home. Everybody's, it's like, no. But the thing, the problem we have down here is like I said, we got a nice layer of ice underneath the snow, But they were out pre-treating the roads yesterday, so it may not be too bad out there, but I'll stay home.
There's another great person in the chat room, My Blog Sunny. My Blog Sunny, she's been a friend of mine for a while, and all of a sudden, man, she just promotes the hell out of all of our shows. So shout out to my friend Sunny, My Blog Sunny. Go check out My Blog Sunny's blog. Sunny, go ahead. You can drop your link because I made you a mod. So you can go ahead and show it to everybody. You're cool with that. I'll let you do that. That's
I'm
awesome.
going to go look at My Blog Sunny right now.
Yeah, My Blog Sunny. She's awesome. Yeah. And Christy Sci-Fi, I don't know about doing a conference in the South. Now, Missouri is kind of centrally located, what we're doing. I don't know what's going on with the Alabama, which we've been at last couple of years. I haven't heard word on that. But as far as our conference we're all going to be at for sure, we'll be, of course, in the state of Missouri, as I like to say, the Missouri boat ride. The Missouri boat ride. If you haven't experienced the Missouri boat ride, you got to check that out.
Well,
I saw that on a Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah, that was Outlaw Josie Whale.
Yes, certainly was. It certainly was. The Outlaw Josie Whale. I love it. I watch it every time it's on. And thanks, Gary Spike Sr., for posting our conference tickets on Eventbrite. It's fast filling up. Again, the Ghost Hunt's already sold out, and all the speakers are going to be attending that. There's going to be a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of newbies and a lot of people that have been around for a few years. So it's going to be a lot of fun, mixture of everything. If you like everything, paranormal, cryptids, Bigfoot, Dogman, and other things, we got it all in one sitting. So we've had our man sitting backstage for 11 minutes. We've got a great show. I've been following this guy. He's also he's got a YouTube channel. Ohio Bigfoot Researchers. He's been he's been doing a lot of research for many years in Salt Lake Park. I'll let him talk about it. And I'm going to bring him up right
That's why
now.
he's here.
Mr. Timmy Gayheart. Hey, what's up, Tim? Man, thanks for coming on.
Man, what's up? Hey, everybody out there.
Yeah, we both want to appreciate you taking your time out of the day to come join the show. I've been trying to get you out for a while, and finally our schedules, they blended together nicely for a nice Thursday. So thanks, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for having me on. It's a privilege to be here.
Now,
with
you notice
well-known man in the Bigfoot podcast world.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Thanks for that. Humbled by that. Me and Tex were talking about weather. We always talk weather on this show. So I got to ask you, you're not too far from me. What's the weather like down there in Ohio? It's too cold here. It's too cold here to snow. We're at 13 degrees. What's going on? You're in right around Sandusky, you were telling me.
Yeah, I'm around Sandusky, just south of Lake Erie, and we got probably about 5-6 inches of snow. It's about 18 degrees. It's supposed to snow off and on for the next few days, and it's going to be cold here for a while.
Yeah, I imagine you guys get that lake effect snow blowing off Lake Erie.
More toward the east than it is
Okay.
I'm like north central. It's more toward the east unless the wind changes and comes out of the east. Then we get it.
Here's my Bigfoot coffee mug here, everybody. Thank you. I'm taking a sip. So hey, Tim, while we get into it, thanks so much for coming on. And what got you started in this? Everyone's got their story as to how they got into Bigfoot research, doing a podcast or whatever. What made you join the rest of us weirdos?
Well, I've had some incidents when I was younger and stuff. Then when I was hunting, coon hunting and stuff, I had some stuff circling us, and the dogs wouldn't hunt. Got a glimpse of one night, but I didn't know for sure what it was. It was standing beside the tree, and my dogs come in, and me and my father-in-law was out there, and it was brown, and it was probably 8.5 foot up, and it looked like its shoulder. I thought it was a person standing there, but when I got my gun loaded and we started towards it with the spotlights on, it decided it was time to leave, and it ran down through the woods, and I couldn't even keep up with it with a spotlight. And I know there wasn't nobody that could run that fast, or it wasn't no deer. It was too tall. And then it went from there to decided we was watching these Bigfoot shows on TV, and we ended up getting a little bit of cash flow, and there was some Bigfoot group having a camp out down at the Salt Fork State Park in Ohio, and we decided to go down there because I always wanted to go down there deer hunting and stuff down there because it's a real high populated county for deer and stuff. And so we just went down there to go to the camp out and stuff, and well, that's where I seen my very first full body one in daytime.
Oh, wow.
And it was on from that point on.
You say it was full body during the daytime. You get a pretty good look at this fella or female.
I don't know if it was a female or male. It was about 80 yards up on the side of the hill, and it walked from behind a big oak tree over to a big beech tree, which was probably 18 foot in between them. This thing's standing about, I was estimated at least 8 foot, if not 8 to 10 foot. It was big. It was almost 4 foot or so, or a little more than that at the shoulders, black. All I could see was just all black. And I could make out the whole body, but I couldn't. It was too far to make out facial features or anything. But it was solid black from head to toe, and it would have made me look like a small person. And I'm like 6'2". Probably at the time when that happened, that was in 21. I was probably about 270, 280.
Oh, okay.
Made me look little.
Yeah, they're a different kind of big, man. I mean, it's even the ones down here, they tend to be a little smaller than the ones y'all got up in Ohio. Y'all are famous for having the big ones up there. And but we get the ones down here that normally they're about, big ones down here normally about 8 foot. Yeah, you may get, according to witnesses, the stray 10-footer. But they're more built like a basketball player. They're not the big, broad, massive ones that y'all have.
Oh, this one would look like you put 3 linebackers together.
Yeah.
And I mean, it ain't the biggest one we've seen. I've seen them bigger than that one.
So 3 linebackers. I'm just the girth. We all know that they get pretty tall, but I'm always amazed because the one I saw, man, probably 4 foot wide, like a barrel.
Yep.
I can't imagine that. So you're suggesting that 3 linebackers, this thing has some girth to it, eh?
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. It was probably at least 800, 900 pounds. I mean, its arms were bigger than my legs. Wow. It wasn't no little one. So I'm pretty sure it wasn't a female. I'm pretty sure it was a male because the female ones we've seen, they're just a little bit smaller and not as broad. Now the big males, now I've seen one during the daylight, where the female is. He's probably right at 9 foot. He's dark brown. And he's probably 700 pounds. He's pretty good sized dude. And he's got like a beard like Tex has got there with the gray in it and stuff hanging down here on his chest.
Well, he's got good taste then.
Yeah. So you notice this creature, this Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to use. Did it notice you noticing him, I wonder? Could you tell or no? Or is it just too far away for you to tell?
Well, that one, he was sitting down behind a log. At first, we could only see just from about his eye level right here up to about right here through the leaves. And it was probably less than a minute. Well, the 2 pictures I took it said a minute apart on the camera.
Right.
And then less than a minute, he stood up. And you could see half of the profile of his face, parts of his shoulder, and parts of him down through the leaves and the trees. But as far as turning and looking at us, no, he didn't. He didn't turn and look at us. Well, we had to leave the area because we didn't want to draw attention to him. There was like 6 or 7 people coming down the road where we was standing on, and they was hiking and they had a dog. So we walked away from him. So I don't know how long he stood there or if he left the same time we did or not.
So do you think, I mean, it's, and I keep going back to the grass man because that's, when it comes to Ohio, that's, and I mean, reports say he's the biggest, baddest of the bunch. He's a little waspy from what I understand. He's not in a real good mood most of the time.
Well, so far we've only had a couple encounters where they've been aggressive. But most of the time, once they recognize that you're there and you're looking at them, most of the time they get out of the sight real quick. But as far as aggression, like I said, we've only had aggression a couple times, and I mean they've thrown rocks at us. And the one time they hit my wife with a rock, and after that was the 6th rock they throwed at us. This was in the research area, just about 20 some miles from me.
A lot of people. Not really, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but a lot of people think that if a Bigfoot throwing rocks at you or yells, screams, roars, whatever, vocalizes at you, a lot of people automatically think they're being aggressive or you should worry. I think my take on it is this: they just want you aware they're there and really to get you out of their area. They really don't want to surround them. That's my opinion.
Yes, sir.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, when they go to throwing things at you, it's either to either get your attention because there's another one that's moving around you and they want you to focus on them. But and then if they hit you with something, that means, hey, it's time for you to go. We have things we want to do, and you're prohibiting us to get on with what we're going to do. But the one that was throwing rocks at her the night we was there, it got a little aggressive after right before it hit her with the sixth rock. It missed with 5. I mean, it intentionally missed. It was just warning her. Then it started stomping its feet on the ground, and then we decided, well, it's stomping its feet, and it's time to go. As I turned and walked away, and then she turned, and that's when she got hit with a rock.
Text, you're on mute.
I was going to say, what kind of rocks were they chunking at y'all?
Well,
Like
it was
big
on
ones,
us.
because I've gotten pebbles thrown at me. I've gotten rocks about that big around thrown at me.
It's
and
about as
nothing
big as
big
around
yet.
as the one you just said. It was probably
Okay.
it was a gravel because
Yeah.
there was a pile of gravel there. We was on state wildlife area, and they'd had a pile of gravel, so they give them plenty of ammunition that they
Yeah.
could have packed into the woods. Because up here around the area where I live, in the area where we was researching, it's called muck dirt, and there's very few rocks in it. And because you have to get away from there because it used to be a swamp, and they drained it
okay.
and made it into farmland, and they grow vegetables and things there. That's where I used to work at, and there's very few rocks there, so they come out to that gravel pile and got them some rocks.
I've never heard this before. There's a friend of mine, one of my newer friends here that's joined the show and Texas show as well.
Mhm.
Could it be the females and their hormones? I never really thought about that. And I'm guessing with the aggression.
Well, I've had plenty of females throw stuff at me, so could be.
I've had phones thrown at me by females. They
I
took it
got
off a
nailed with a high heel
wall.
shoe one time. So.
Back in the day when we had dial-up phones, some girl threw a phone at me. Yeah, unplugged it and threw it, tossed it clear across the room at me. Threw it with such force that it took out a chunk of the wall in back of me. Yeah. But anyways, that's a story for maybe late night.
But yeah, if you take a female out with you and she is in her estrus cycle during the months, yeah, you're going to get some aggression from the males because they're just like any other, like a buck deer or them. That when they smell estrus, that makes them a little bit more tense.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
they get a little rowdy.
I'm not so sure you're in the part of Ohio that heard. We've all heard of the Ohio howls, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's down southeast Ohio, down around Salt Fork and Hocking Hills.
Yeah.
But I think Matt Moneymaker recorded that down at Salt Fork area.
Now you do a lot of research though out of that area, correct?
Yes, I got been going there since April of 2021. Yeah, we usually go 2 to 3. Some if we got the money, we go 2 to 3, 4 times a year from April till late fall.
I might have to come up there and pay y'all a visit.
Oh, come on up. We have camp outs on the weekends and stuff up there. I try to get Rob to come to a couple of last year, and he's always too busy.
Rob's too busy. Now get this. Rob's too busy to go look in the creek by his house. I'm just saying. So, it's.
Now, I've been to the creek on several occasions. I am busy because my buddies, the Blondes and Booze. Hey, listen, man. I tell you what. If I turn down someone or don't show, it's not because I don't want to.
We know
good friends of mine, the Blondes and the Booze, a couple of years ago, we're at a paranormal conference in Ann Arbor, and I didn't even see them there. But I had frozen pipes that were broken, so I did have a very good excuse for that one. They don't let me live that down. By the way, they're 48 minutes from me. Yeah. So, but anyways, keep sending me the invites, Tim. I usually will make my rounds. You know, my bucket list is to hit all of these Ohio conferences, research areas, as well as my own backyard, which of course is the great state of Michigan.
Yeah, we usually have groups, and here in Ohio, they usually have one every month, if not two a month, all summer, all from spring till closing time for the camp areas at Salt Fork. In the fall, I think it's like last of September or last of October. They after that they can't rent it because it's hunting season, and the hunters rent the camp area then.
So do you, we always, we talk quite a bit, about people talk about, well, where you got to go to see these things. And honestly, my opinion from my experience is if you've ever been camping out in the boonies, or you've been to a state park or national park, more than likely you've been rubbing elbows with them just damn near, and you just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Anywhere's that there's a pretty good, there's a water source and cover, you going to be by one of them.
Yeah. And I don't know how many we've got in the lower 48. I know it seems to be that the population is growing, because we're starting to get a lot more reports of, juveniles and even younger, like toddlers running around and the footprints being found and everything. I mean, who's going to let their little 2 or 3 year old, kid run around barefoot in the middle of the damn woods?
Yeah.
It don't make any sense. This is the only thing that makes sense. I mean, everybody tells you, well, you gotta try to come to a logical conclusion. Well, this is the logical conclusion, folks. I'm just saying.
Yeah. The very second one that we seen and got a picture of was a little one. It was like 3 foot tall. That was in the same area where the brown male and I seen the full body one.
Right.
This was first. It was in the first time the trip to Salt Fork was in I think April 13th or 14th, and it was probably 30 minutes after I seen the first one. My wife didn't get to see the first one. She was down looking at the lake and looking for rocks and tracks and stuff. We had no idea. I mean, we heard of them being there, but when we got there, we didn't have no idea where to go look or anything for them. And we went to this area because a lot of people that down at the park, when we went around to ask where this camp area was, the camp area is totally on the other side of the state park. And so we went down to the Hozak's Cave area, and I was standing behind the car in the parking area smoking a cigarette, watching the hills when I seen the very first one. And that was the big black one. And I went down to where she was at down by the lake on a little beach area and told her about it and brought her back up there and showed her where I seen it at. And then we walked. There's a guardrail there because it's dead end, because that's when they made the lake at, and they put a guardrail up so you can't drive to the dead end.
Right.
And we went around that and went down through there, and that's when I found on a slide or a trail, if you want to call it, come off the hill, I found the very first footprint too that we found, and it was like 9 inches by 3.5, 3 inches, somewhat in that area. And she walked on down from me, and that's when she seen the little one. It was up there behind, right beside of a big beech tree. And like I said, it was like 3 foot tall. It was a black one. And the time I worked my way to her, and she got her phone out at the time, that's all we had was her phone.
Right.
And she got a picture or two of it there. And while she was taking pictures, and then we heard a mouth pop, and that's when the little one went around the tree and hid. I never did see it go up the hill, but they moved so quick, and as small as it was, the brush and stuff would have hit it pretty good. But
Right.
then
Are y'all
later that
are y'all seeing the round headed ones or the conical head or do you see both up there? What is that?
the most that we've seen, ones that we've seen is they're more round than they are conical. They're not. I
Right.
mean, they have just a little of a crest, maybe like this,
Yeah.
but it's not real pointed. I mean, you can just tell. I don't know if it's just the hair or if it's the crest, but they have an elongated forehead, but
Yep.
their head don't come to a point.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I sent BMR some pictures. The one is the female, and she's sitting there looking at us while we was taking the pictures. And she's got a little one right beside of her. So yeah, the head shape you'll be able to see it. Then the one
Is this?
the brown one that's running up the hill, you can see its head and arm and a hand and everything.
Yeah, you did.
You can
You know, I'm gonna go those pictures. I don't know which. Okay, is it the color one, or I know there's the ones with the. Well, here, you know what? Is this? This is something else, isn't it? That's a
That's
dog.
the brown one. No, that's the brown Bigfoot. That's the male. He pushed a tree over just before that, and he was running up the hill when we got that one picture.
Okay.
You can see his arm; it's hanging down, and then he's got one like it's on his other arm is like it's an upward swing.
Okay. That's right, smack
Like,
dab in the middle, obviously.
yeah, yeah,
And
all that dark looking area right there in the middle. If
yeah,
it's
I mean, I can. You know what I can see, and there's a limb and a. I can see a head, an arm down, a shoulder. I can see a. Obviously, you know the face is distorted by the limbs in the background. But
yep,
yeah, okay. And then you sent me. Is this the same? I can't. I
mm,
see him right in
mm,
the middle. I see the shoulders and the head on. Is this the same one or a different one?
no, that one was tucked in October of 22 in the research area that we go to. The wildlife area is only like 20 some miles from here.
And now
Yeah,
you have
it's
the enhanced. Go keep talking. Then you colored it. You made it more enhanced. Now it pulls it up a little bit better
now
here.
that's the original. The other one I lightened so you can see it better. But that's the only thing is that's just been lightened. And it's standing. If you look at the sign, you look straight back, you see its face right there looking at you on the left.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was less than 30 feet from there. And the other people say they see things over here on the right in the bushes part, but
Oh, we'll get back to that a little bit later. On the right, the right lower corner.
yeah, over here in the bushes toward the right, just a few
Yeah.
feet from that, they say they see other things. But I was focused on that one, and
Yeah.
then I took it with my phone because at the time we didn't have a camera. But I thought I sent you the pictures of the female and the little one. I must not have.
Yeah, you sent me
But
like five, but you sent me some really cool print. Now they're all good. Everything you sent. How many Bigfoot have you seen? You think so far in your research? I'm gonna pull up your two prints in a minute. We'll wait a couple minutes for that. But throughout you've been doing. How long you been doing this now?
since April of 21.
And you've seen how many of these 4 or 5 Bigfoot already experienced? Correct.
No, more than that, way more than that.
Jeez. I was
We're up.
just, I just wanted to be low here. I just, I'll let you talk about it. That's
We've probably seen close to 20 between daylight and nighttime.
wow.
I've been within less than 7 foot from one just in August. Yeah, I was sitting on the tailgate of the truck with another researcher. We was at Salt Fork and doing a night investigation, and one come up and touched the truck while we was sitting there.
Hmm.
And I got the fingerprints and all that on tape and on pictures and everything.
Good
That
deal.
one we was sitting in on a 6 foot bed Ford F-150 quad cab, and we was sitting on the tailgate, and it touched the back passenger door. That's how close it was. It was standing there. It come right up there. So
Somebody
yeah,
asked. Go ahead.
we've seen probably at least 20 in the last 4 years and so.
Somebody in chat was asking really quickly if all of your experiences with Bigfoot been in the state of Ohio. And for everybody asking, yes, this is all in Ohio, all of Tim's encounters. Have you, all your research is strictly in the state of Ohio?
Yeah, we've most 99% of our research, which my wife is in November, went to Indiana and was doing research in Indiana at a couple of friends' house, members of our group. That she went up there and stayed for the weekend and done research up there. But that's her encounter in stories. I wasn't there, so I'm not going to tell that.
Yeah.
And in a couple of weeks, she's going to Arkansas to do research.
Nice.
Very
That's
nice.
some pretty country there.
Yep.
I want.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Tim.
No, Debbie
yeah.
Lee said she's in Ohio.
Debbie Lee, she's new. Thanks for coming on in, Debbie Lee from Ohio.
Yeah, most of ours has been down there at Salt Fork, and then around the area here where we live.
You got
the footprints and stuff that I sent you pictures of was right here in our backyard.
Well, I'm gonna pull those up then. Let me switch out of here really quick. Because you sent me, I only got 2 that you sent. This is not it. You know, that's something else. I'll show that
that's
in a minute.
one of.
That is why I'm gonna do that last. I just want to
Okay.
go here.
Yeah.
Now I definitely can see it. Now, if you're on a phone, I can definitely see an outline, and that looks wide as hell.
Yeah, you got the 5 toes at the top of the picture right there. You can see the digits it. And yeah, that's it was like 17 inches by like 7 3/4 wide.
Yeah.
But that was right outside of my back door, about 4 foot from my back door.
Wow, 4
no
foot
kidding.
Back door. That's crazy.
Yep.
Oh.
And this is the same one, but a different snapshot. Now this is even more distinguishing.
Yeah.
I took several snapshots with my DLSR I got. I finally got a decent camera. I mean, it's not the professional, but it's decent. More than a phone.
Right.
And then now you got the showing the with your hand here. You're kind of showing
that's
a little bit of scale.
That's my wife. Yeah.
Your wife.
And she had she was putting the measurements between her hands from end to end of it, and I was taking the picture.
I gotta ask you, man, what was going through your mind when you got a Bigfoot 4 feet in back of your house?
Oh, they've slapped my house. We live in an apartment complex right on the edge of town.
Okay.
Just in city limits. And yeah, I've seen them out here. I've seen iGlow. They've broke the neighbor's wooden fence, and they broke trees over here. There was a woods right here just at the end of the apartments, like 5 acres, and it had a brush line that goes down and it goes to the north and then to the west, and the Huron River, which is one of the major rivers around this area, is about 1,500 yards across the field from here, and they travel up and down that, and they could come up here without being seen around the brush and stuff, and they'd come right here and watch, because we have to go outside and smoke cigarettes, and they'd come and watch us, and then after we'd go to bed and stuff, they'd come up and walk around in the yard and stuff.
What's your most scariest? I know now you've had a lot of non-aggressive encounters, but was there any experience during your research out in the woods where you said to yourself, man, I don't know if I want to do this anymore? Or has everything you've done been positive? And I always ask people this because that my first experience, man, not good. So I'm one of these guys that's always like, I don't call Bigfoot the friendly forest giant. And people say, Rob, come on, dude. But it's only because my first experience and only experience with Bigfoot was traumatic, right? It was terrible for me.
Yeah.
Now you're sounding like yours have all been non-aggressive, but is there anything that you're like, man, Tim, what the hell am I doing out in the woods looking for Bigfoot? Because I know that a little later in the show, we're going to talk about being surrounded by a pack of dogmen, which I'm saving for the finale. But with the Bigfoot itself, you've been pretty much not threatened or scared, right? Or am I wrong?
Oh no, I've had some moments. Yeah, I've had some moments. I've got upset and got nervous, but I'm not a real scary person. I mean,
Oh,
I hunted every.
you're a nice, sweet guy, man. You're not scary at all. Oh, wait, you're talking about
Oh,
Bigfoot. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I can get scary when I get mad now.
But you can.
Real serious, scary, and but yeah, we've had a couple times that I got pretty nervous. They was making aggressive noises, and they was getting too close for my comfort. We was at Salt Fork, up to the handicapped area. They have bathrooms and picnic areas and stuff up there, and it was in, I think it was May, May or June of 2021. This would have been only about the third time. I think the third time we seen one. And we went to the camp area, and they was having a camp out that weekend. And it got dark. Time to go do some investigations, and everybody decided which way they was going, group up and go here and go there. Well, they was supposed to been 4 or 5 people was supposed to go up to the handicap, and we asked, well, you don't care if we come up there and sit with you? They said, no, come on. I mean, we was new to all this Bigfoot stuff because that was we'd only been to a couple campouts. We didn't really know a lot of people at them. And so we head to the handicap area. We get up there, we park. Nobody's there. Nobody shows up. Now it's about 10 o'clock at night. Nobody of the group said they was coming up there, come up there. So we was sitting there on a picnic table. Somebody had just left, and they'd had a cookout right there. They had, the steel grills they have at parks. The charcoal was still glowing in it, and you could smell the hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff that they cooked on it. And we was sitting there, and then we get everything goes quiet. I mean, no crickets, nothing. And I'm like, wow, man, it's starting to get weird. And over our left shoulders, because we were sitting at the picnic table and we was looking the opposite way, which the bathrooms were behind us, and we hear this real loud whoop, and it's down over in the valley because it's hilly down there, and it's not. I mean, it's probably a good almost mile to the bottom of the valley or something like that, close to it. When we hear this whoop, and it's over in there, and she goes, "Did you just hear that whoop?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I said, "That was over behind us." And she said, "Man, that was cool." And because that's the first time we ever hear the vocalization of something, and other than just normal animals. And then we've sat there just maybe 1 or 2, 3 minutes later, and I'm looking down over through this open area, that's mowed area, and there's a pavilion down there with another picnic table, probably 100 yards. And I'm watching all this area to see anything moving. And she said, "Babe, we got one watching us." And I'm like, she goes, "We got a visitor." And I'm like, "What do you mean we visitor?" She said, "Turn and look over your left shoulder." Also, I turn and I look over my left shoulder. Here's this at least a 12-foot black one.
Oh, wow.
He's standing right in the mowed grass. And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, that's a big boy." And she said, "Yeah, it just come out right there." And we had a couple little small rechargeable flashlights, and I took the one I had and I turned it on and I pointed it at him. I started at his feet and worked my way up to about mid chest. He's a big dude. And he's black, and I kept. She said, "Don't shine that light in his eyes," and I'm like, "I'm not going to. I'm not going to try to make him mad. He's only like 60 feet from us, 70 at the most, and he's standing there, and I'm looking at him, and I mean, this dude is big.
Man,
He
12
made the
feet,
first
man.
one. He made the first one I seen. The first few I've seen look little, and I'm like, God, that's a big one. And she goes, uh, we gonna sit here? I said, yeah, he's not being aggressive. He's just seeing what we're doing. He probably smells the food, and he wants to come check it out. And I turn back around, and I'm watching the other way, probably for a half of a minute or so. And I turn back around. Oh, he's done made about 3 or 4 more steps closer. And I'm like, now I'm starting to get a little bit nervous. Now he's deciding he's going to come in regardless if we there or not. So I put the light back on him, and I'm like, okay, I know you're curious, but it's close enough. I said, we're not here to bother you. And I said, that's close enough. Now you're getting you're getting a little bit too close. So I turned the light back off, turned my head, start looking the other way a little bit. And I know she's watching it the whole time. And maybe 30 seconds, I turned back around. He's done come about another 10 or 12 foot closer. And I'm like, I shine the light back on him. I'm like, now you're trying to push it here. You're getting too close. And I've got 30 feet. I got to get to the car, and my legs and stuff don't work that good. So it takes me a little longer. And she says, "You think we ought to still stay here?" I said, "He thinks there's food here. He smells it, and then he's wanting to come see if there's any food in here." And about that time, he went, and I said, "Yeah, it's time to go." And he was within about 35. Yeah, it's about 35 feet then. So we got up and went and got in the car and left. And we was going down the road coming out of the park. Now this is crazy. Now we're coming out of the park. There's this minivan. It's probably 80 to 100 feet in front of us. See the tail lights, the headlights hit it. You could tell it was a minivan. We're driving down the main road going out of the park. All at once, I see this deer come shooting out of the edge of the woods, because the woods not very far from each side of the road down through there in this area. And I see this deer come shooting out of the woods, and I holler, "Deer!" The speed limit's 35. And she sees it. She hits the brakes. The deer comes almost to the edge of the road. Instead of running straight in front of the car, it turns, comes down the side of the car. And I'm watching it in the rear view mirror on my side as it's going down the side of the car, and it turns and goes across the road behind the car. And just as I seen that, she goes, "Oh my God!" And I turn my head, and here's a Bigfoot. It just come right across in front of the car. So she's seen it come in front of the car through the headlights, and all I got to see was its arm, back, and legs as it was going into the bushes on the woods on the other side of the road, and it was a brown one. And I'm like, really? How can you see 2 Bigfoot and within 15, 20 minutes of each other? And I'm like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's really crazy for people listening and people in the chat. You got to think about this. Most people have seen a basketball court and a net. Now, the net, you guys, the rim of the net is 10 feet tall. So, first of all, picture something 10 foot tall, 4 foot wide. I mean, that's a giant. Now, the top of the hoop, top of the backboard, that's probably that's got to be that's probably another 2 feet there. So imagine the entire top of a basketball backboard to the floor.
No, you're talking about something that will look into a 2-story window.
Yes.
Yep.
I can't imagine.
I can't fathom anything that big. I really can't. I mean, oh
man.
I got a picture of something that measured. He was either 12 or 14 foot, depending on if he was standing on the log. It was back there.
Man.
But I don't know if it was a Bigfoot though. I mean,
and here's the thing, and I said earlier, I had a bad experience, and let me tell you something. Even if you were to be out in the woods, camping, looking for Bigfoot, or just walking the trails, and this is not part of the story, but if I'm walking a trail and something just walked into my path that was 12 foot tall and just looked at me, and here I am staring at this thing from 60 feet away, and it's not aggressive, it just kind of looks and just saunters off, minding its own business, I'm still in shock because your brain can't process the size, right?
Yep.
What I saw was maybe 9 foot and 4 foot wide, but it was a whole different ball game. I'm not talking about mine. And that was traumatic. And my head was freaked out for months, 6 months, 7 months, right? To see that, you guys, I'm trying to picture this in my brain. And my brain, even trying to draw up an image of it, my brain just won't process it. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that 12-footer that
go ahead,
we've seen, that 12-footer up there, its legs was probably at least 28, 30 inches around.
Yeah.
It looked like it was standing on 2 trees. Its arms were bigger than my legs, my thigh of my legs. Its forearm was bigger than the thigh of my leg.
Oh, man.
And this thing's probably close to 5, if not a little over 5 foot across the shoulders. And like most people say, its shoulders and its head met. There was no neck.
Right.
I imagine that the finger, Obese Tuna says a 12-foot could just rip your head off. He could probably take his forefinger and pop you in the skull and bust it.
Yep.
Tex, I gotta take care of Mama real quick. She gave me a text on something. I gotta do her thing.
Yeah,
for
no
her,
problem.
I'll be right back. Great. Thanks for everybody for coming on in. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
The first one that I ever saw was 8 foot, and he was in the middle of a wheat field, and the wheat was 4 feet tall. That's how I know. That's why I know how tall he was. And at the time, it was like, man, you're walking in this wheat field, and it's under your armpits, and you're thinking, good God,
Yeah.
It's just even at 8 foot, 7 foot, those are just. And I experienced something when I was in Tennessee, and there was a Ripley's Believe It or Not, and they had a life-size animatronic thing of Woodlow, the tallest man in the world, and he was 8'11". And when you walk up to this thing, he's sitting outside in a rocking chair, and when you walk up, it triggers him, and he stands up. And that's when I truly, truly realized how massive these things are, because that guy, I mean, will just blow your mind when you look at his hands, his feet, and the sheer height of him. It's just, and he wasn't nowhere near what these critters are.
Yeah.
And it's just mind blowing. When you start doing and I kind of did the math tried to do the math on these critters to get a ballpark figure of how strong they could be, and from using gorillas and humans and all that kind of stuff, and figures that I could use, figures that I could find, and the way my math worked out, and I'm no mathematician, folks, I'll tell you that right now, but the way my math worked out was at 9 feet, these things could probably lift 10,000 pounds. So when you start talking about these critters that are ripping trees out of the ground and stuff and sticking them back in upside down, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind,
Yeah.
Now I think it was out of Ohio, and you may have heard about this. But wasn't there some folks that were camping and they got their camper pushed over or something? Was that in Ohio? Or
I'm not positive about it, but I know there's been people that's been in campers and stuff, and
Yeah.
they've shoved them
Yeah.
like a foot or 2 foot.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
for flipping the one over. I don't know about that encounter.
yeah, I remember, and it was well, dadgum, Cheyenne Gayheart. I wonder who she's related to.
That's my daughter.
That's awesome. It's to have that kind of support. That's great.
Yeah.
Way to go, Cheyenne.
Yeah, my daughter and one of my brothers that passed, and he believed in what I seen, but my dad and my older brother, no, they think that I've seen people in monkey suits and stuff, and I'm like, well, I hope you never run into one in the woods while you are hunting, then, because then you'll realize I was telling you the truth. I've showed them the pictures, and they like, oh, that's somebody in a monkey suit.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, okay. They know exactly when I was going to be there and exactly the place where I was going to be standing to come and be sitting there for me, or standing there for me to take a picture.
Yeah. That's
okay.
See, that's how I was when I was trying to debunk my first sighting. I'm like, okay, well, we got an 8-foot basketball player standing out in the middle of a wheat field, just waiting for me to look in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then take off running into the river bottoms. Okay, yeah, that works. Because he knew I was going to be here at exactly this time, looking in that exact spot. Yep, that makes sense.
Yep. Well, that's like he was talking about the strength of these beings.
Yeah.
Well, the first encounter at Salt Fork in April, there was at the dead end at right around the guardrail, there was about a 18-foot fallen log. It was laying there that I had to step across going in and coming back out. And then we went to another area, stayed gone about 2 hours, and then we come back to that area, and we went back down there to see if we could see the little one or the one that I seen just a few hours before that. And this log is 8 to 10 inches around. It was laying there.
Right.
This log is gone. And I'm like, man, I already was doubting myself about the very first one I seen. I stood there and argued with myself about seeing it, because I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, and I didn't want to accept it as what I seen. But when I come around that guardrail and this log's gone, and I'm like, I know that log was laying there. I crossed it going in and coming back out just a couple hours ago. And I got to looking, and I'm like, where'd he go? And I looked like 30 foot would have been to my front of me to the left of the way I was standing. And here's 3 pieces of log laying there. I walk over and I'm like, yeah, this is the log that was laying right over there. It's broke into 3 pieces, about 5 to 6 foot pieces. And I'm like, no. I said, now there was broke. There's no axe marks. There's no saw marks. This jagged edges, like, you know how you break a piece of wood. And I'm like, what would broke this and moved it? And I found out the possibility of what did it, because I went down there where we seen the first track, and here's about a 17-inch track beside of the 9-inch track. And I'm like, ain't no way that thing come off this hill and broke this log out of the way and moved it. I'm like, no way. Didn't even believe it myself. But how did the log get broken 3 pieces? And it wasn't a rotten log. I mean, they didn't have no bark on it. It was dead dry. How did an 8 or 10-inch round log get broken 3 pieces and moved over and put in like a triangle shape?
that's some power. And when I was taking care of what I had to take care of, I was listening in the background a little bit about the power you guys are talking about and how we try to, we just can't process these things, how we want to try to debunk everything we see, as we all should try to do. And I find it fascinating with your encounters you've come across. And for those that are just joining us, you're going to have to watch the replay because Tim's got some fascinating encounters with his research, his experiences out in Ohio. And I want to turn the tables a little bit because there's another fascinating story I want to bring up. But before I do that, thank you to Sinfully for donating 5 BMR Pirate memberships. The super chat's open. You can become a pirate. Thank you. If you're new here, you guys, please subscribe to Bigfoot Mission Rob on YouTube because I'm getting close to 5,000 subscribers. So if you're new, please hit that. That's right, Tex. I'm a marketing guy. And yes, I'm proud. I need to hit 5,000. I'd like to do it on this show. Texas Front Porch. Subscribe to him on YouTube. The Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. Paranormal Paul. Dottie Show. Monica Rollins. Our Paranormal World. And I'm probably Danielle Diva as well. We have a conference going on. Absolutely. Love you all. Thanks for coming on in. Fantastic show. Fantastic guests. Now, Tim. That was a mouthful, I know. Thanks, everybody. Great show. Thanks for coming on in. Again, everybody watched it from the beginning after this is over. When you were out looking for Bigfoot, man, you came across something that is pretty terrifying. You were encountered by some dogmen. And I got to tell you, I got to hear this.
Oh, them some nasty little creatures now, I'm telling you. Now this shit was probably, I think it was in September of 2022. We went to another camp out at Salt Fork.
Mm-hmm.
And,
this Salt Fork, I've done some stories in my book from Salt Fork. Everybody, a lot of things comes from this area that he researches on. I've gotten
it's
mysterious.
It's what Don Keening quoted that he made back when he was doing his research. There's 3 counties that's in that area, and he give it the name the Bigfoot Triangle. If you ever go on Google or everything, you can type that in and it will come up and it'll show you the triangle of the 3 counties. And this is where at least 70% of the encounters of the grass man in Ohio come from this area. And we was down there at Salt Fork, and we'd met a guy at the meeting, at the campfire and stuff at the campground. His name was Josh Inslee. He has another Bigfoot group and researches Bigfoot. And we all decided we was going to split up for night investigations, and we'd never done a night investigations down at the cave area at Hosaks. And me and my wife, and he asked if he could ride along with us because some of the encounter stories we was telling at the around the fire during the campfire roundtable meetings that we have there. And so you can ride with us, and we end up going to Hosaks. We get down there, and it's probably 7:30, 8 o'clock. It's just in the fall. It's just starting to get dusky, dark. We get there, and we walk him down through there and tell him the encounters we've had. And I showed him where we've seen them, the footprints and all this and that. And we get down and come back up to behind the car where we was parked, and they decided they was going to go up the trail. Now, by this time, it's dark. You can't see 10 to 15 foot. And that's not in the trees. That's standing out here on the road, parking area. I was like, you just don't have no flashlights. How you going to walk up the trail? And then the trail is very narrow once you get past a certain area. And you have a 10 or 12 foot drop. And, we'll just go till as far as we can go and to be safe. Well, they go up in this trail. They're gone for maybe 10 minutes. I hear them coming. I mean, they're running as fast as they could run. And they're in the pitch black dark. You can hear their feet hitting the ground. And they get down there and they're behind the car where I'm standing smoking a cigarette, and I'm watching the hills and all this. And they're out of breath. Both of them are white as ghosts. And I'm like, why did you just come running out there? And he was going, Dogman, Dogman that's up in there. And I'm like, what's a Dogman? I'd never heard of them. Never seen one, never heard of them. He said, they're like a werewolf. He was standing there explaining it to me. He said, it's not safe to be here. And he said, I've run into them before. And he said, I've been face to face with one. And I'm like, okay, I've never seen one, but I believe you what you're saying. And then we heard some noises and we turned toward the dead end. Well, here's a set of, like a gold green set of eyes glowing. There's no light source. Now, these are glowing, and the first one I've seen, it's probably 7 foot up off the ground. And I look about 70 to 80 feet on closer back toward us. Well, here's another set of the same colored eyes. And I'm like, okay, that's 2. And then look almost within 40 feet of us, there's where the hill goes, like a holler, where the hill goes back in, and well, up on the edge of the bank, a hill there, here's another set of eyes, but they're down closer down to the ground. Same color eyes. And he's picking these up as we're standing there. And he said, they said they seen 4 that was skylighted when they was up in on the trail. That was it would have been up to their left side. And said that one of them was the big one in the middle was standing straight up like a man. And the other 3, 2 of them was down on all 4s, and the other one was like in a kind of squatted position. And the reason they come running out there because they started toward them. But then we look to the right of the trail. Here's the 4th set of eyes.
Jesus.
And it's probably 80 yards from us on that side. But the road that goes to the blacktop road, and then you turn off the parking area, and then there's the trail that goes to the cave, and it was just past the trail to the cave on the right of it. And these people come down in there, and they was going to do a night investigation, and we're telling them that they wanted to go up to the cave, and I'm like, duh. We was telling them, no, you don't want to go up in there right now because it's very dangerous. And he was telling them about it being Dogman and stuff. But we had the lake to our back, so they had to come across the blacktop road to get in the area where we're at. I mean, get at us. But while we was standing there, and they're still panting and white as ghosts, and the next thing they're talking about getting the sick, the dizzy, getting nauseous to their stomach, and you can see them swaying. And I'm like, hey, we need to do something. Yuns is the ones that has to drive. We need to get out of here before one of Yuns can't drive. And so we ended up getting in the car and leaving, and never went back down there until this August, and got talked into going back down there to do another night investigation, which was not good. Had the same kind of a coincidence happen, but this time it was red eyes, and
Oh man,
we ended up leaving before anything happened then too.
Yeah, that
the red eyes too. That's not good.
and the thing about it is, it's not Hilton Whittlewood. Tex, you sleep at all? Yeah, a little bit.
Tex has been doing a marathon. He's been on like 8 shows in the last 48 hours. FYI.
Well, we're snowed in. What else we gonna
I
do?
know, Tex. You're snowed in. 5
but,
inches. Yep.
you know,
Shut down Texas.
I've seen eye shine, you know, and that's not what you would call, you know, your normal eye shine. You know, 8 foot off the ground, and even 2.5 foot off the ground, and big around silver dollars, and 8 inches apart. But I don't know what that was. Jason's convinced it was a tiger, and I don't know. It could have been, you know, because now we have those in the area. Man, I don't know, but there's something wrong with something that's got glowing red eyes. There's just something off, okay? And I have to wonder, and see, that's where I start wondering about the paranormal or the supernatural side of this, you know, and all the things that, because I mean, we've all ran into stuff in the woods that we can't explain.
Yeah.
You know, the whole orb situation, the whole EVP situation, the metal clanking sounds, the laughing, all this kind of stuff. So when we start talking about glowing eyes, I have to wonder if we're looking at something that's not of this natural world.
You know, that's Tech. Yeah, Tex always brings that up, and I want you to answer that for Tex because, and for myself and everyone watching. Before we move into that, then, do you think that Bigfoot is supernatural or flesh and blood? And we could get into the Dogman part as well, because I know that what Tex says, I believe a lot of times what we think we're seeing might not be exactly what we're seeing.
Well, as far as being purely flesh and blood, I've hunted ever since I was a boy. I mean, day and night. And I've never seen nothing until I started doing this researching for Bigfoot. I've never seen nothing in the woods that had glowing eyes without a light source.
Yeah.
I mean, you get night eye shine when you shine a light at something like a deer, a dog, an owl, or a coon. Yeah, you'll get the eye shine. But for something to be in the woods with no light source and their eyes glow, now that I've seen it like 10 to 12 times now since I've been doing this Bigfoot researching and cryptid researching. And it just blows my mind that something that's out there walking around can make its eyes glow like you got flashlights inside your head and turn them on. And as far as being just fully flesh and blood, I've seen some weird things and I've heard other people's talk about things. I just don't believe they're just fully flesh and blood because the human race knowledge has been hidden for thousands of years of what we used to be able to do. And these things are what we should have been able to do yet. But we've been dumbed down and taught and knowledge hidden from us that took our abilities away. So, and I've seen people, even people that can do things like levitate a card or a spoon. Now I've seen it with my own eyes. So they have the ability to do that, and we all should have had the abilities to do that.
It's amazing, and you have to wonder if that was part of natural selection for us, losing those abilities, because maybe we couldn't handle them. Maybe that's why we don't have them anymore.
Had to be something happened.
Yep. Kind of makes you wonder. You know, I mean, because the old adage is absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, you know. And
you know, so
thanks for all the new folks for coming in. And go ahead, Tex.
See that all the time, you know. So maybe we just couldn't handle it, and maybe that's why we don't have it. Go ahead, Rob. I know you're
I just had a thought, but no, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Continue you're good, brother. Go ahead.
Like Tex alluded to a little bit earlier, Tim, because we like to play around with this with everybody that comes on, and even ourselves, we talk on the phone about it. And Tex always brings up, because Tex has seen a lot of weird stuff. We've all seen weird things. If you're a member of this group, if you're a subscriber, you follow shows, most of the people have seen weird things. What I saw was weird. I've seen lots of weird things. I'm not even getting into that. Tex has as well, especially out in Brown Springs. But sometimes now, the longer you do this, the more people you come in contact with, as Tex always states. How do we know that? Now, first of all, this is not really toward you, Tim. I know you've seen actual Bigfoot. I know you've seen actual Dogman. I know you've been in the woods and you do a lot of great research. But I bet there are certain people that see things that I'm not so sure they're seeing a Bigfoot. Maybe it's something paranormal that feeds on a person that's looking for it willingly. And there's a lot of these spirits and ghosts and paranormal entities and shadow folks that are reading into what you want to see, and they present themselves only because they have a nefarious purpose behind it. I know it sounds out there, but I believe it exists. What's your thoughts on the paranormal side, the tricksters, if you will, if you're familiar with the paranormal term?
Oh yeah, I understand where you're coming from there. Yeah. We don't even have a 1% of knowing what is around us and out there.
Right.
There's things that people that haven't seen that does exist. You have all these legends and myths that has to have some kind of truth to it. And paranormal, I've seen ghosts, I've seen orbs, I've seen some weird stuff in my life, put it that way. I mean, I've been in the woods investigating Bigfoot and had 2 different times in the same area that it was like camera flash. They lit the whole woods and the sky up, and there's no camera, was no road, no nothing, no headlights or anything, nothing within in a mile of any direction of me there. And I've seen it twice, and then heard some weird humming noises, metallic humming noises. Been at Salt Fork, and there's a whole group of us out one night, and it's at a place called Devil's Knob.
Boy.
Because they said they seen the red-haired devils up there, and the school was there in the 1800s. And this metallic drumming, after we was there probably 20 minutes, and there's no metal tanks or nothing within miles of there. And here we heard this for at least 30 to 40 minutes that we was there. This metal drumming noise, like doom, 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 doom. And everybody that was there, they researched the area and everything. They walked it in a day. There's no metal drums. It's middle of nowhere. Gravel road goes on top of the hill, and we was up on top of the hill. Wow. Then I got deathly sick there, and we had to leave. And there was 4 other gentlemen that was there, and we had women there and stuff. I mean, there was like 12 or 14 of us there, and 4 or 5 of us, the 4 males, started getting sick. dizzy, nauseated, and everyone that was there could hear this metal thumping noise, like somebody beating on a big barrel. And we all left there, and then after I got like everybody got to feeling better after we got like 1,000 yards down the road from it, everybody started feeling better. And we went back to the camping area, and we all was talking about it and stuff, discussing what the metal noise of thumping was, and us four it got sick, what it was. And one of the guys that was in the group camp the day before went up to that area, and his sickness lasted for 3 days after he come out of that area.
Tex, I was going to ask you, Tex, and Tim, that metal. I always hear a lot about that metal sound. What do you guys think what is that?
Man, that's a damn good question.
I hear people say this a lot, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in our last trip out there, and Gary that's in Gary Spike Sr. and that's in chat was out there. Monica was out there with us, and we all heard it. We're sitting around camp. We all heard it. To me and Pops, Gary Spike Sr., it sounded like a metal clanking. Okay. But Monica described it as like bottles clinking together type sound. But we didn't just hear it once. We heard it numerous times all around camp, but it sounded like it was it didn't even sound like it was all the way out of camp, really. Sometimes it was closer. Like, I should be able to see what the hell's making this noise, right? but you can't. And it's just, it's so odd. What it is, I have no friggin' clue. Okay. But I just know what happens. Now, talking to your point about the whole droning, the boom, boom, boom. When we were doing some research, and we have one trip was we were out and we had a spectrograph, but anyway, it picks up ultrasound and infrasound, which everybody it talks about these critters using infrasound. And I used to be pretty convinced of it, but now I don't know yet. I don't know now. Because and this is why I don't know if it's these critters or if it's just geological sounds, because the earth will generate both infra and ultrasound. When people that are particularly sensitive to stuff, right before there's an earthquake, doesn't have to be a major one, but right before there's plate movement, they'll get hit with that, and it makes them have the same type of sickness. So is it possible that this is what we're experiencing and this is what we're hearing? We don't know, but that is the only natural conclusion that I can come up with. And I try to find a natural conclusion for everything that I see, because if we don't, we're just throwing dung at a wall and seeing what sticks. And there's honestly, there's been too much of that. We have to be our own worst critics, catching our own evidence and everything. And we got to question everything that we see, everything that we hear, everything we experience. And we have to try to eliminate all of it as much as we can, because when we do, if we really delve into what we're experiencing or seeing or hearing, and we go through we exhaust the logical, normal explanations for everything, the fantastic explanations are what makes sense.
They are. Yeah,
so I know that's a long answer, somewhat answer.
It's a long.
I'm sorry.
Tex, I always expect that out of you, and that's fine because you're just giving serious thought to this. I mean, like several people in chat, Tex, including Debbie Lee, who's new. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for coming on in. Although I think she might be a Tex fan or a subscriber, and I'm not making fun of you, Debbie, because she said perhaps you're a port hole. Tex calls a portal a porthole, and several others suggested a portal. And again, Debbie, love you. Thank you for coming on in, not making fun of you at all, because Tex says porthole. But you know what? I've heard a lot of them. I've heard a lot of people mention that with that metal clanking or the metal sounds or the thumping
Mhm.
is a churning and the development of a portal wherever. Now, who knows what that is, you guys? But I've
Yep.
heard it more than once, so it's another thing to look at. You know, we suggested Dogman or Bigfoot could be dimensional. Who's to say they don't walk in and out of portals, right?
Exactly. We don't
Yeah.
know.
I, for one, believe they can. That's just me.
Well, there's the spiritual side of like the Indians, the Native Americans, skinwalkers. They walk in the flesh and they walk in the spirit.
hmm
So if a human being can do it, what says something else that can't do it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities, and and that's just it. We can't write any of this stuff off.
Yep.
And I used to be one of the world's worst, folks. I was. You can ask Christy Sci-Fi. I've made her so damn mad on more than one occasion.
Oh yeah, Christy.
Um,
Why'd you bring that if she's still watching? And here's why, Tim. We'll ask you this again. You've been doing this a while. Mind speak. Do you think that people can communicate with Bigfoot? I've heard many people tell me that who I believe, right, that they've talked to things, perhaps Bigfoot, perhaps paranormal stuff. First Nations people swear by it, right?
Yep.
And so, have you had any mind speak, or have you had any impressions placed in your mind, in your thoughts from these entities, or these ancient humans, or these big feets, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them?
Yeah, I have. I usually don't put that part out there because people look at you. You're crazy.
Yeah.
You're just crazy. You imagining things.
Well, number one, you're not crazy, and none of my friends are crazy because I believe they're all hearing something. My thing is, what are they hearing?
there you go.
I have the female down there. She has told me her name. She has told us that she wanted a hairbrush, and we took her a hairbrush. And just back in April of 24, we was down at Hosaks area. We was down at Salt Fork doing a weekend. These other investigators, researchers, was told that we gifted the female a hairbrush. The hairbrush was gifted to her a year before that. And when they was walking down to the dead end, the hairbrush come flying out of the woods and landed right in front of them. And the one of them, my wife didn't see it, and the one that seen it turned around and asked her, "What color is the hairbrush?" She described the hairbrush color, what it was made out of, the length, and everything. And he says, "Well, you need to come up here and pick this up." Because he said it just come flying out of the woods, and there was 4 or 5 of them together, so there was multiple witnesses. And yeah, I've had them. They talk to me. I've had them when they was throwing the rocks at my wife that night because she disrespected them. And I was telling them, and they was telling me she disrespected us because she went into one of our structures without permission. And they was letting her know, don't do it no more.
Right.
You think these structures are religious or spiritual? Then
the one they went into it's like they're sleeping and they're where they keep their young. They're in it, and when they went into it before they got there, the young was there, and it scared the young out, and that was showing disrespect when he entered. It would be just like somebody walks into your house without asking. That's disrespectful. You'd either respect these beings or you're going to pay the consequences.
Well, I got to tell you, that is probably the most convincing. That is probably the most convincing story of mind speak that I've ever heard, because they didn't know. I mean, when you have it, when you can verify it like that, when you know that, see that I like because it's something that I can think about. You can really get a hold of, and it's not just you're not just saying, well, they told me it was Bigfoot. You know, that dog won't hunt with me, okay? Because paranormal 101 spirits are going to lie to you, and they know your mind.
Yep.
You know, and I've never had it happen to me, but I guarantee you the first time it happens, I'm going to be sitting here on my show waving my woo flag loud and proud.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell anybody that it doesn't happen. You know, like Rob said, we've got dear friends that we, love and respect that have these experiences. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to dismiss them. You can't. You can't be in this field and just absolutely, use it. Do what you can with it. Whether you agree with it or not, you can still use it as a tool in your research. It's still data. You may think it's useless data, but if you record it and then you find out, oh well, I was wrong, you have that data.
Yeah.
So you can't dismiss anybody's form of research or their experiences. Put it in your tool belt, save it for later. That's what you got to do, folks. You
do, and you make up a great point with the data,
just because they have different freaking experiences than you do.
Right, and Tex makes a great point because we always talk about the data. Bigfoot crossing the road, data. I don't care how many times I have to tell people Bigfoot crossed the road. It's not insignificant. It's not boring. It's data. If you saw a 12-foot figure crossing the road, that's not boring to me. Might be a 30-second story. I wasn't going to bring this up. Robin Haynes McCraig, Rags is a friend of ours, always comes in chat. Robin Haynes, I've met her. I've known her several years. She's been on my show several times. Never heard of my Bigfoot encounter. I don't know if Tex was with me on this show or not. So Robin, allegedly she claims she speaks with Bigfoot in her yard and stuff and all wherever she goes. And I respect and believe Robin. And I gotta tell you, I was doing a show going through my Bigfoot encounter on the show. And I tell my story, my encounter story, the same every single time. I don't deviate from anything. And I never ever mentioned a red barn, which was a part of what I seen on my encounter, but you'll never hear me say a red barn when I tell my story. You can listen to my story a million times on 20 different channels. It's always the same, right? I know I don't deviate. She's on with me and she goes, Rob, I'm talking to your Bigfoot right now. On my show, on a live show, Robin Haynes now. I'm like, what? Now you probably heard my story. She goes, no, his name is Delano, and he wanted to tell you he meant you no harm. She's telling me this on a live show, and now I'm like losing my train of thought. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm thinking, is she just, knows the story, this, that, and the other, and this. until she told me when he appeared to me, this Bigfoot meant me no harm, was sorry about my girlfriend, didn't mean to scare me, didn't mean to make us lose our senses, made my girl fall off the boat. But and I'm like, fine and dandy. And he said he came from around the red barn because I wondered where it came from. It just appeared on the shoreline. I never told anybody about the red barn, Tim, and everyone listening. Robin told me that Delano, my Bigfoot that I saw, that was his name, I guess. Tell Rob I came from around the barn because I know he's been wondering about where it came from. I've never told anybody about the red barn ever, and I never included my story even today. I only brought it up because Braggs brought it up. Remind me about Robin, a dear friend. I believe everything she says. She's got a lot of she's a great experiencer in her own right. That floored me, man. Somebody knew something that I never told anybody, not a soul, not even Tex, not my brother, not my mom, nobody.
Yep.
My deceased girlfriend probably saw it because she happened to die 2 months later, as most people know that.
Yep.
But when I was
That's a
told that,
tragedy.
yeah, it was terrible. But when I was told that, I couldn't think for the rest of the show. I was floored.
That was to let you know that it is truth.
Yeah, for sure. That be the truth, man.
Yeah, that's like the one that mine spoke with, the female. She told me her name. They usually don't. They don't tell you their name because then you have power, and it has to be one of the alpha. It's either an alpha female or an alpha male, and the one you run into was an alpha male, and they're the only ones that will. The males usually won't reveal their name, but the females will. Yeah. So the name was told to you, and the red barn was told to you to let you know that he was the alpha. He didn't mean to scare you, and he didn't mean to cause you and your girlfriend the trouble. And what happened, the incidents. I know he knows that your girlfriend done the tragic things,
Yeah,
and he's sorry for doing it. That's the reason he was reaching out through her to you.
that does make a lot of sense. It does make sense. That was just something, man. That was the entire my encounter was something, and let's talking with Robin live on air was another. And what you just brought up makes a lot of great sense. It does. In fact, this Bigfoot Delano even told Robin, as far as to tell her that I've been trying to reach out to Rob himself, but he has me shut out. I have no
Mhm.
idea I was shutting out this Bigfoot. I never thought about. I didn't know about mind speak until I met Robin McCrae. To be honest with you, so I had no idea, what any of
Well,
this
it was
was.
tragic to you, and so your brain shuts it down.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you was doing paranormal and you could feel it around you, and then it scared you, it would shut you down. It shuts that part of the sensation in your brain. It shuts it off. It shuts your senses down so you don't feel it because you had a bad reaction.
mm,
Just like trauma in a wreck and stuff. That's the reason people don't remember their wrecks, or people that's been to war has PSTD, and it's trauma. It affects your brain.
yeah. I had all that PTSD, the whole 9 yards. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
And so
you
you block
it
that.
took you quite a while to deal with that. I think you're still dealing with it, honestly.
I
Yeah.
think maybe I am. If this the whole Cindy. Well, my girlfriend's name was Cindy, right? And
Mhm.
that's the only thing that really I don't know.
Right.
That's still a mystery. That's the Bigfoot mystery is behind me. I mean, that's hey, you know what? Minus her passing away, that was a great encounter, albeit scary, right? The thing that
Yeah.
always sours my taste is what I believe that this thing killed her. Today, I don't believe that. Today, I used to call it a demon. Today, I don't call it a demon.
Right.
That's how I've evolved as a man going through this process. But Yeah, that's how I got involved with all this, man, because of what I saw, right?
Yep.
That's why I love doing this, because like having you on, having people like yourself sharing your experiences, we need to hear it because Tex says the truth's out there and people need to know these things. And we help people today that have PTSD. I know we do. From people like yourself telling about their experiences, some good, some bad, some in between. That's why I love doing what I do today, because I think that myself and Tex and all the rest of us have helped people get through these situations, good, bad, or in between. So
Oh
I
yeah,
think it's
there's a
been
lot
a
of people's had
fantastic
bad.
show.
A lot of people's had bad experiences and won't even go in the woods, won't camp, won't do. They won't even hardly go out in their own yard. It's
Oh yeah,
the mind is a powerful thing, and then your mind does not want to deal with something that traumatized you, make you sick. It'll make you change your whole life. But
It's
I always the
powerful
motto
and
I said,
it's
oh,
powerful and fragile at the same time.
yep, yep.
For
It's
sure.
like I always say, there's no need for all this fighting and arguing. You wrong, you're right. You take from whatever you've been told, hear, see, take from it what you will, or leave it alone.
Yeah.
You don't need to be rude. You don't need to.
no,
You're wrong. You're stupid. Hey, there's
there's
pieces in everybody's encounter that is needed out there.
Yep.
that's great. Everyone's encounter has pieces we all can draw on. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no experts.
Yep,
There's
exactly.
there's just human beings that come across these things on a daily basis.
Unfortunately, humans are never going to set their egos aside long enough to learn anything.
Hey, you know what? There are human beings that you could be 80 degrees and the sun is high, beautiful sunny day, and someone will argue with you that it's overcast. They some human beings, man, just aren't right.
Yeah,
They're not, and you can't figure some people out. And
you
those
just
people,
have to walk on through life.
I smile and look the other way, walk the other way,
Yeah,
as you said.
yeah.
This has been a fantastic show, Tim. I'm so glad
Yeah.
I finally got you on. I love this show. Great show. Everybody for coming and chat. The new people, please subscribe. I'm getting close to 5,000. Hit the like button. Subscribe to Texas Front Porch. And Tim, you've got a YouTube channel as well, right? And you also have
Oh,
before we catch you loose, I market myself throughout the show, as you've noticed. Tell us a little bit where we can find you, what you got going on.
well, you can find me on find us on Facebook. It's Ohio Bigfoot Researchers. We have a group. We have over 5,000 members, and we do not tolerate trolls or rudeness in the group. And please answer the questions before you ask to join the group while you're joining the group, because if you don't answer the questions, you will be declined. And we also have a YouTube channel on YouTube. It is Ohio Bigfoot Researchers. And we don't have, I think I got like 18 videos up, but all them 18 videos and things that's on there, we don't do nothing but tell 100% of what we see, and it's 100% of the truth of our encounters. I don't candy coat nothing, and we definitely don't tell no lies about what we've seen or what we've heard or what pictures we got. Everything is 100% legit. We're not out here to be famous. We're out
Right.
here to help people realize that these things are out there. You need to know it before you go in the woods so you can be prepared if you see one. And if you have any problems dealing with a bad encounter or you cannot deal with what you've encountered, reach out to us on our group or on YouTube or whatever, and we'll see if we can get you someone to talk to, or we can talk to you, or try to work through it and have you some way to deal with this.
Absolutely. And I'm a member of the Ohio Bigfoot Research Group on Facebook. It's awesome. I always go on it. And thanks for allowing me in your group there, because it is a great group, a lot of great information. Um, Thursday night tonight, we got the Blondes and Booze coming on at 9:00 tonight. Tex, I was gonna, I don't even know if I should ask Tex what he has going on, because Tex is on 3 days a week now, snowed in, nothing to do. So you can catch Tex 24/7, Sunday through Saturday. Yeah, the man that doesn't sleep. You're going to sleep after this show, aren't you, Tex? My God.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I know this. I love each and every single one of you for coming on in. Hit the like, share us out. It's been a great show. And
Go sub to Tim's channel.
Go sub to Tim's channel. Join his Facebook group. Answer the questions, because, yeah, if someone don't answer the question, why be a member? Right? I mean, that's just common sense. I mean, yeah. I'm going to go buy never mind. The story would go 20 minutes long if I get into my story. Love you all. Hit the like button on your way out.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.